Hey everyone, this is Mace1370. Today I want to go over upgrading gear. I think this is one of the most important parts of Epic 7. You need to have a good system to efficiently use your resources. So I use a formula to decide if a piece is worth upgrading or not. I'll post that below so you can refer to it later. The formula assigns a point total to every single piece of gear, and if the total points of that gear is above a certain threshold, then I upgrade it, and if it's below, I throw it in the garbage. So the way the system works is for every percentage point that a stat has, the gear gets 1 point. For every speed, it gets 2 points. And for every critical hit chance, not critical hit damage, but for every critical hit chance, it gets 1.5 points. We can go over flat stats after we go through a few examples. But essentially for that, you just take whatever the flat stat is and you divide it by the base stat of a unit that you would use the gear for. So for this particular piece, if we just look at the entire, all the subs, it has 5, 6, 7, and 4. So this is 11, 18, plus 8 is 26, so 26 total points. My personal threshold for rolling on a piece of gear is 20 points at level 85. It has to have at least 20 points for me to roll on it. You may adjust that threshold, depending on where you are in the game. I think most endgame players look for 20 points. So we're well above this, so we can go ahead and roll this piece. Hopefully it rolls well. Would like to dodge effectiveness. Okay, so that was pretty much the worst case scenario. That was a 2 speed. Here the problem is that technically we do have 6 points here in effectiveness, but not a ton of units want both effectiveness and critical hit damage, but there are some, so I think we can still count it towards our total. If you have a combination of substats that are definitely not usable, then you kind of have to subtract that out. So for example, effectiveness and effect resistance, there's almost no unit that wants that, so I don't count those together if I'm looking at my point total. Here we can probably go a little bit farther on this and see 5, 6, 7, 6 one time. Okay, so this was a 6, so that's okay, that's an average roll. If you lose track of where you are and you want to see, am I on track to get to 50 points, just sum up everything you have and subtract that out of 50, and that'll give you an idea of if you need to roll above or below average. So here we have 11 plus 6 plus 7 plus 12. That's 36. So we need 14 points to get to 50 points total. We have 3 rolls left. So we divide 14 by 3 and we get 4.67. So 4.67 points per roll should be very doable, since the average roll is 6 points. You know that because these percentages vary from 4 to 8, so right in the middle is 6. Speed, for example, is 2 to 4, in the middle is 3, etc. So let's see, I don't think we have enough resources to get this to +9, unless maybe we get a good or a great. Oh hey, we got a good, look at that. Alright, big roll one time. Oh, I can't count, we're only at +8 here. Alright, well, can't do that one for now. Let's see. I think we have a neck we can upgrade. So an exception to this formula is if you're trying to roll a specific substat. The obvious example for that is speed. So take this piece for example. It has garbage total points, right? It has 8 for this and then 4 for that, so 12 total, maybe 13 with the health there. But I don't care about anything other than speed on this piece, so I still roll it. 4 is a max roll. So we can toss in some charms here and see if we hit speed. Probably won't. See if we have a neck we can unlock that it's not going to use. That's another potential speed roll. That's a potential speed roll. Let's see. This has like decent substats. Alright, what the heck, we'll waste a charm for the purposes of the video. Speed. Nope. Alright, so now that one's trash, and we can go to this one and see if we hit speed again. This one actually has other usable substats, which is always a perk, although main attack is not super useful. So we want speed here or bust pretty much. Missed it, so that's trash. I think we had another speed here. Critical hit chance as a main stat is a very nice main stat for speed pieces because they're units like Faithless Lidica who want a lot of crit. So getting a high speed crit chance main neck is very important, and the sets you're looking for that are speed and hit. So this could be a very good neck for her. Alright, that was a speed roll, but it was low. We'll take it to 6 and see if it goes again. It doesn't. So that one's garbage. So we can see here one exception to this rule is if you're focusing on particular substats, with speed. The other exception to this rule is that right-sided piece of gear is much more difficult to get than left-sided piece of gear, and so you may not use the same threshold you do on right-sided pieces that you do for left. So even though I only really roll on things that have 20 substats, if there's a particular item on the right side that is fairly close and I'm in need of that particular piece, I'll try it. So here, for example, I don't have many FRES rings that have decent substats, and this has both defense and health, so this could be good on a Soul Weaver or something like that that wants defensive stats on top of FRES. So we can toss some charms in here. Okay, that was an 8, so that's good. We will keep going. Also a decent roll. So this piece is turning out pretty well. A difficulty with purple pieces is that you don't know what the substat is at plus 12, so not only do you have to roll average or above if you're following this formula, but it has to be in a usable substat. So there's a lot of chances for purple items to fail on you at plus 12. That's why these days I tend not to take too many purples, all the way to plus 15 and then 90 them. So again, the total points that you're looking for on purple gear is 50, and then when you upgrade, or not purple, I'm sorry, for 85 gear is 50, and then when you upgrade it to 90 gear, you're looking for 60 total points. And that gives red pieces a pretty big advantage because red pieces gain more total stats going from 85 to 90, because they have that extra roll in there. So on red pieces, you can oftentimes get away at level 85 with like 48 or 49 points because it'll gain like 10 or 11 or 12 going, to 90 and get you over that 60 point threshold. So we can end this just by looking at a couple examples of gear that I use this formula for. So we can take Seaside Bellona, for example. She's very stat hungry, and you can see here that she has pretty decent stats overall. I build her very slow and very tanky. So for Seaside Bellona, we can look at this piece, for example. So if we had 5, 15, 12, and 30, we get to 62. So this, exceeded the threshold that I wanted for this piece. And pretty much every piece she has does that, and that's how you get these types of stats. So using this formula I think is really good because it lets you conserve your resources. So you can see that you're ditching a lot of pieces at plus 3 and plus 6. It's just how the game is. And eventually, you get lucky and you get, that huge piece that has a ton of stats. You can see here on the right side that this piece didn't quite get to the 60 mark. 9 plus 4.5 plus 15 plus 22 is 50.5. So 50.5, and that's just in the percentages here. So it does have 84 flat defense, so we can see, and we can convert that into percentage to get, what the total points for that ring would be. Let's see, her base defense is, I think, 571. So 84 divided by 571 is 14.7. So that's actually a fair bit on flat defense. So given this flat defense, this piece, bumps up to pretty much 65 total points, so the flat defense saved it there. Flat health is maybe less impactful for her. I think her base defense is not amazing. Anyways, you guys get the point. So using this system, I think, allows you to save resources. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Later.